God answers our prayers. Saint Augustine of Hippo is one of the greatest saints of the Catholic Church. He lived in North Africa. Many people are familiar with his biographical sketch, that of a sinner turned saint. His early life was marred by sin and rebellion against God. His mother, Monica, was deeply hurt by the unchristian life of her son. She often followed him wherever he went and pleaded with him to change his life from evil to good. She could not match with his intelligence. She could only plead with and cry for him before God. One day, Monica was so desperate that she went to a bishop who advised her to be patient. He told her it would be impossible that a son over whom she had shed so many tears would perish, and that he would soon return to the faith. From then on, she stayed as close as possible to Augustine, and she prayed and fasted for his conversion. When Augustine was 29, he moved to Rome to reach rhetoric, and then he moved to Milan, where he received a position for teaching rhetoric. Monica moved to Milan after him. Augustine often heard Ambrose, the Bishop of Milan, preaching, and this is probably what sowed the seed of faith in his heart. All the prayers of his mother Monica for his conversion were now beginning to have their effect after many years of seemingly being unheard. Augustine began to study the New Testament and especially Apostle Paul. He was close to being baptized but could not take a decisive step. His soul was crying out for a conversion, but his body kept saying a no. The turning point came when one day Augustine read a passage from Romans 13:13 to 14. Put on the Lord Jesus and make no provision for the flesh to gratify its desires. Augustine described in his Confessions, telling his mother that his struggle was over. She leaped for joy and understood that God had given Augustine more than she had begged for. Augustine was baptized by Bishop Ambrose of Milan. Later, Augustine and Monica decided to return to North Africa. While waiting on Ostia, the port of Rome, to catch a boat back home, Monica said to Augustine, I have no further delight in anything in this life. There was one thing for which I desired to linger a little while in this life, that I should see you as a real Christian before I died, when I am still here. 5 days later, Monica caught a fever and went into a coma and died after 9 days. Monica had received many refusals during almost 20 years of praying for Augustine's conversion. And finally, her persistent prayer was answered. God answered the tears and prayers of the mother. As Monica continuously brought her sinful son before the throne of God, may we too, with many tears and many prayers, bring our erring brothers and sisters before the Lord. 1 Thessalonians 5:17 says, "The earnest prayer of a righteous person has great power and produces wonderful results." May God help us to be earnest and persistent in our prayers. Have a blessed day. God bless.